Lala Kent and Scheana Shay are officially filming season 2 of The Valley. Andy Cohen is done with Bethenny Frankel. And is TomTom closing down? As Stassi Schroeder makes her announcement to return to reality TV with her all-new Vanderpump spinoff. We have a lot to get into. I hope you are ready. Hopefully you got some coffee. Maybe you're spiking it with a little whiskey. Let's go. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. Hello. Happy, what's today? Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Whew. They just dropped the leaderboard for Orange Theory, because I do my Orange Theory, and they dropped the leaderboard for the 12-minute run to see how much distance we can rack up in the 12-minute run, and for Inferno. And so Inferno is where you have to go back and forth between running on the treadmill and racking up as much distance as you possibly can on the rower. They just dropped the leaderboard, you guys. And I'm like, so I came in number 1, naturally, for the 12-minute run, because I did at 2.077, so just over 2 miles that I cleared for the 12-minute tread. So in 12 minutes, I cleared 2 miles. There was one other guy from one of the other gyms. He got 2.1. I was like, okay, sir. Okay, Mike R. Okay, Mike R. You want to race, bro? And then, sorry, I just need to flex. And then Inferno, which is where you have to try to see how much distance you can rack up in that time. You have to go back and forth between running on the tread and then racking up distance on the rower. I came in second, not first, but second with 4,325 meters. 4,325 meters is what I racked up. But you know who racked up? Lewis H. I don't know who Lewis H is, but I'm ready to row against him. Row, row, row your boat, Lewis. He got 4,502. Whew. 4,502 meters. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Nobody else beat me. The next lowest after me was 4,180, 4,072. Okay, so I feel confident. But still, the audacity. Lewis and Mike. Can you believe how crazy I am? I literally came in like first and second in the district, and I'm still like, So just had to get fired up before I came in here today. And then it looks like the Real Housewives of New York cast photos just dropped. They look nice. Good for them. They look lovely. Like they're all wearing kind of like black and white. Bryn has on like a gray sparkly dress. Jezel, sorry, not Giselle. Jezel looks great. She's kind of got a little, she looks sexy. Who's my least favorite? Oh, they have Rebecca Minkoff in here too. Rebecca Minkoff, this other new girl that they added in last minute. They have Sai, Bryn, Jenna Lyons. Jenna Lyons like kind of looks cute, but I don't like the white socks with the heels. I've never really liked that look, but she's got like a leather dress on and her bra. She's always wearing a bra, and it's just always an exposed bra. Rebecca Minkoff looks incredible. Her legs look great. She's the one where they were like making a big deal about Scientology. Ooh, Uba. Uba is on fire, 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 burning on the dance floor. Whoa, oh, mm, mm, mm. Uba looks great with the long black boots and the little black mini skirt with the cleavage out. She's doing titties out. You go, Uba. This new girl, I don't know who this new girl is, but I don't like her look at all. The dress is ugly. Hair is not flattering on her. Makeup doesn't look that great. And the shoes are not cute. Erin looks great. Erin looks really nice. Very sleek, very elegant, very demure, very classy, very sleek. Bryn looks great. Sai looks great. Bryn looks very Bryn, right? She's always got that debutante kind of vibe to her, that debutante look where she's just like, look at me. It's very classy, very demure. Is there a set time when the new season of RHONY begins? I believe it's October 1st is the date that was announced. Um, but listen, the ladies look great. So they're all the same, right? It's Cy, Jezel, Jenna Lyons, Erin, Bryn, Uba. And then it looks like this new girl. I don't know who this new girl is. I don't like her hair. She's got that long braid. Um, I don't know. I don't know who she is, but I'm already not a fan of hers. Um, Rebecca Minkoff does not look like she is a full-time cast member. So, there we go. Okay, so the new girl is Raquel Chermont. Chevermont. I don't know. Raquel. The last thing the Bravo universe needs is another Raquel. Last time we brought in a Raquel, see, I already don't like her just because her name is Raquel. We already tried a Raquel. Didn't work last time. But this seems to be her signature hair is like tied up and back. Who is Raquel? She's a true New Yorker. She was born and raised in the Bronx, making her a true New Yorker. Got it. She's an art curator. Oh, because we love those. Just like Raygun, we love all the artists out there. Raygun was a true artist. She brought her creativity to the breakdancing Olympics. What's her name? Raquel. Raquel is an art curator with over 20 years of experience working with institutions and advising corporations, collectors, and artists. Anytime somebody's an advisor, I'm like, what does that mean? She curated artists, including a bunch of people I don't know. And she helped get collections for movies and TV shows such as Severance, Empire, and Just Like That, and Law and Order Organized Crime. Oh, interesting. It's nice. She's a longtime model. Okay. She was discovered in 1993 for Elite Models. She was discovered by Steve Landis. Don't know him, but sounds impressive. Oh, she's done ad campaigns for Bobby Brown. Ooh, okay, come on. Cooperate here, computer. Bobby Brown Cosmetics, Fila, L'Oreal, Nivea. She was also on International Now Elle covers, magazine covers. She's a proud queer Black woman. I'm what you'd call a later in life lesbian. And when I came out, I lost a lot of people. I believe that because of my age and my accomplishments, I didn't care what anyone had to say. I didn't feel the need to prove anything to anyone. I'd spent my entire adult life in the fashion and arts world. And while my personal life might have suffered, my true professional life didn't skip a beat due to my queerness. I was lucky to be part of two industries where queerness is embraced. Didn't we already do this with Jenna Lyons last season? But now we can't just say lesbian. Now we have to say queer. Listen, I'm from this community and I don't even understand the rules. They change every day. So, yeah, I guess I'm not gay anymore. Now I'm queer. Got it. So, but so many straight people are queer now too. I don't know. Okay. Listen, she's the newbie. Good for her. She will hopefully spice things up and bring something interesting because last season wasn't really all that. It was a nice slow burn. It was a nice slow start. To be honest, I'm interested in the Rebecca Minkoff of it all because of the Scientology of it all. Queer is all encompassing. So then why do we even need to say that? I've always been confused about that. I remember having a conversation on the podcast years ago with somebody that's like, we're trying to abolish labels. And I was like, okay, great. So we added another label. Okay, got it. It's funny, last night I was on the phone with somebody and he was going off about Joe Rogan and he was talking, he's like, Joe Rogan is such he's racist and homophobic and transphobic and blah 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 blah. And I was like, aren't you a straight white man too? And you're commenting on you're commenting, you're talking to a person of color that's also queer. I was like, really? You're gonna lecture? Not that he was lecturing me on Joe Rogan, but he was just the stand-up special had come up, which I did see, and I actually enjoyed Joe Rogan's stand-up special. But it was just funny. I was like, "You're criticizing another straight white man on how to be a better straight white man when you're a straight white man. You're trying to defend like it feels a little, white savior complex." Scientology coming. That should be. That's what I'm excited about because it's like we see the Leah Remini Scientology stuff, but now I'm curious to see how we incorporate that into Housewives world, and I just think Rebecca Minkoff is I'm familiar with her. I was not familiar with this Raquel woman. So we'll see. We'll see what they have to bring. I'll give the new season a shot. They didn't fully um they didn't fully hook me, but they also didn't fully lose me. Like the Dubai ladies kind of fully lost me, so I didn't watch the new season of Dubai, even though people are saying that it's, you know, it's good. Um, I just lost interest in the new season of Dubai, but I will give New York another try. We shall see. I can't wait for the Scientology drama. I'm just kind of interested in to see like how it's all going to play out and what people are going to do and how they're going to, react to Rebecca. Because then there are all like the rumors and all the stuff about Rebecca Minkoff. I think my friend Jacques, who writes for the Daily Mail, even did like a whole expose on her. So that'll be interesting. LGBTQIA2 plus. Why do we have a 2 in there? Why? When did the numbers start getting added? First of all, that's too many fucking letters. That's like the whole alphabet. And second of all, why do we have numbers and plus signs? We have numbers and symbols. I feel like that's like a password. You know, when you put in your password, you have to have a capital letter and a lower letter and a special symbol and a number. LGBTQIA2 plus is always hard for me to remember all of it. It's cumbersome. And as a pansexual woman, there's a lot of terms. See, like, that's what I don't get. It's like we keep adding more letters to the alphabet, and the next thing and now we're adding numbers and dollar signs, and now what? And but a queer is supposed to be all encompassing of all of it. Oh, 2 plus is for the two spirit for Native Americans. What does being Native American have to do with being gay? Listen, y'all lost me a long time ago. I thought we just like to suck dick on the side. I didn't realize that we, you know, had a committee. Mrs. Machete says, let's just all be queer and ditch the acronyms. Got it. Two spirit is similar to non binary for Native Americans. Two spirits? Is that like being, why can't we say bi spirited, right? I'm bi spirited. I'm not bisexual. I'm bi spirited. I can't. I also learned the other day, I went to my brother's graduation and I learned that there are people that are lavender. I was like, when did people turn lavender? When did that happen? Listen, more power to everybody and all the terms and all the definitions and all the genders and all the letters and all the numbers and the symbols. If you I identify with the dollar sign. Okay. So whatever's going to make me my money is what I identify with. Okay. That's when we need to add that to the LGBTQIA2 plus movement, a dollar sign. I just learned it all. Well, thank you for enlightening us, Mallory. We learned a lot today. What's the plus sign for then? Why do we what happens if you're lavender? I don't remember. I remember I was at the graduation and they were going through all the different, diversities and they brought up lavender. The woman was shouting out the lavender people. So, you know, I listen. You can be whatever color you want to be. Joe says, I identify as fuchsia. There you go. You can be fuchsia. Listen, I'm not trying to exclude anybody. I love all, okay? I love all. It's my two personalities, Megan said. Two is for her two person. I have more. You only have two Megan, I know you got a few more personalities than you, girl. I remember you when I was on tour. Megan was trying to sleep with both of the Brav bros. Megan was like, I got a boyfriend and I got two spirits. She's like, I'm bi-spiritual. I got Steel and Shooter at the same time. Sarah says, I'm human. Sarah, it's unpopular to say that you're human these days, and it's very discriminatory and very non inclusive to consider yourself a human. You need to identify with one of the alphabet letters. What do you think? You just fell out of a coconut tree? Actually, every day I'm starting to think I fell out of a coconut tree a little more and more. Okay. Megan says she's 2 plus 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 plus. Oh, Megan's fully welcoming of all. All right. Because 1 plus wasn't enough. Okay, sorry. We're gonna get on topic. I apologize. I apologize. Because people are gonna get mad. They're like, when does the show actually start? Well, we did talk about what did we talked about? Oh, the RHONY. Okay. Oh, the RHONY trailer is here. Let's do a live reaction to it. This is what I was trying to wait for, was for the trailer to drop so that then we could tape the show. So it literally just drops. Let's watch this live. Okay, the trailer starts in 3, 2, 1, and it's all the ladies. They look great. Okay, we see a Chanel store, a Prada store. We see Jezza walking. Okay, so we see Jezza walking down the street and something scares her. We already saw that when they scared Ramona, and Ramona's scare was at least funny. Remember when they had the mask and they scared Ramona during Halloween? We literally just copied the Ramona moment with Jezel. I wonder if that was intentional, because some people like try to compare how Jezel is so out of touch with how Ramona is so out of touch. So I wonder if that was like an intentional like nod to the OGs. Just didn't have full execution. Ooh, this season. Okay. We have Bryn opening it. We're swimming. We're rock climbing. Oh, we're playing dodgeball. We have Bryn and her dog. Everybody says they're moving on. Oh, we introduced Rebecca Minkoff. Ooh. Ooh, Bryn said, you've never heard of Rebecca Minkoff? If you're at Nordstrom Rack, then you've seen her stuff. Actually, I would disagree. I would say if you were at Ross. Maybe that's how I fucking know Rebecca Minkoff. Listen, I grew up in East LA. We didn't like Ross is where we got our nice Calvin Klein. Ross is where we got our Michael Kors for fancy stuff on Christmas. Ross is where it was at. I remember Minkoff. Oof. Rebecca Minkoff says she built $100 million company. Okay, so Raquel. Oh, wow. Raquel used to see men. She might be dual spirited too. Bi-spiritual. Ooh. She does look fun. Oof. Okay, so we see some fight with Sai. Sai is in the hot seat. Sai said, not today, Satan. Ooh, someone has a giant diamond ring. Jenna and Raquel are having a thing. Giselle thinks she's having the next Beyonce baby. Erin is fighting with her husband because he's been lying to her, and she's crying. She's not okay. And then Uba has a pigeon party. Erin said someone's poor. And Erin's mad that somebody's upset that she called him poor. Jezel is fighting with Rebecca Minkoff. Someone's pregnant and not drinking. Oh, she's pregnant but got pregnant. Who? Someone got pregnant by somebody else. And they're all talking about somebody being pregnant. Why is there? Who's a pigeon? Somebody's a pigeon. You're the biggest pigeon ever. Oh. Ooh, Naomi and Giselle wish they were Uba. That's what's wrong with being a pigeon? Are pigeons part of the LGBTQIA plus Ty Dolla Sign? I don't know what's wrong with the pigeons. Do we not include we cannot be discriminatory against the pigeons? Yeah, Naomi and Giselle wish they were Uba. Oof. Uba's mean to. Ooh. Uba's delusional, according to Bryn. Erin says, stop, stop. Jessel says it was effed up. Bryn calls Erin Staten Island. And Erin's like, I'm not Staten Island. I'm a city person. And then Bryn says, okay, city person. And then Bryn says, never have I ever. And then they all go, oh. And then Jenna Lyons says, "I'm never letting my children watch this show," but we don't even know what she never has ever. Never have I ever been bi-spiritual. Sorry. Oh, well, you signed up for oh, pigeon is the new slob. What's wrong with being a pigeon? Why are we talking about being pigeons? Oh my god. It looks like there's at least a little bit of interesting drama. I'm curious to see what happens. The Jenna Lyons and the Raquel thing felt a little forced. It felt like we were trying to force that to happen in the trailer. Um, Uba seems to be fighting with everybody again this season. Like Uba's now I know why she has a hot sauce because she gets fired up quick. Megan says Staten Island is the worst borough for anyone who is not a New Yorker, not considered a part of New York for real. Oh, Stacy reminds us pigeons don't fly with eagles. Well, I guess that means that the new cast of RHONY will never compete with the OGs because Dorinda's an eagle. And she said pigeons don't fly with eagles. So the new ladies just said we can't compete with the older, with the veterans. Is Raquel there so Jenna has a friend? I don't know. I know it's a bird. I lived in NYC. No, but we obviously know that pigeons are birds, Marianne Stout, but what does the pigeon have to do? Don't tell Mike Tyson. Pigeon is the new slob. Um, Najat says, ouch, I grew up on Staten Island. Who said that? Because you must not be from NYC. Okay, clearly there's an issue with Staten Island versus the New Yorkers, which I feel like is a thing, right? You know, kind of like how people from Jersey don't want to be associated with like Jersey Shore people. I don't know. I'm from LA. I'm from the West Coast. So I just be representing LA. I can't speak to Staten Island or New York or Jersey. But yeah. Diane Power said, "This is crazy. I identify as American." Not a pigeon? Well, thank you for playing. Okay, let's get into all the other stuff. So Lala and Scheana are filming the new season of The Valley. They were spotted filming with Michelle. So it looks like everybody's back. I'm assuming maybe they have a bit more of a budget for Scheana and Lala now that Jax is on pause as he's, trying to seek help for his mental health. Brittany just blasted him on her Instagram stories because I guess on his Cameo, which by the way, guys, I am on Cameo. You can book a personalized message from me on Cameo. But Jax on his Cameo is saying that he is donating his money to cancer research. Specifically, I think it was esophageal cancer, like throat cancer. I think is what he was saying because it's very near and dear to his heart. Because I'm pretty sure he's, annihilated a few throats in his days. But But Brittany says that that's not true. That he's actually never donated money to anything, and the Cameo money he's keeping for himself. So I was like, oh, okay. Joe says pigeons, eagles, who cares? They all taste like chicken. Do they? But what about the lavender pigeons? I'm gonna get in trouble for half the shit that I was saying. I don't give a fuck anymore. This is called No Filter with Zach Peters. That's what you're gonna get. You're gonna come here and you're gonna get no filter. Okay, so yeah, Lala and Scheana are filming the new season of The Valley. Brittany has blasted Jack, saying that he doesn't give his money to cancer research. All his Cameo money goes directly to him. I would also like to remind everybody, I am on Cameo. You can book a personalized message from me. The link is in the description below. I am not giving my money to charity. I'm giving my money to my rent because I'm not Ann Maddox. Ann Maddox is assistant Ann. She used to be Tom Sandoval's assistant. We saw her on Vanderpump Rules. And then she left Tom Sandoval. We saw her interview with Ariana. She went to go work for Ariana, and I guess she was her assistant for a minute, remember? And then she like did that photo where she's like Team Ariana, and she like had like a cheerleader outfit on, and she said that she was Team Ariana. And then Ariana ended up hiring her at Something About Her so that she could help run Something About Her. And then now apparently they cut her hours. So she's now on Instagram stories asking people to help her pay her rent. Um, Interesting, right? We really she left Tom Sandoval 'cause she thought it was gonna be better with Ariana, so then she dips over to Ariana and then gets her hours cut. Miss Machete says, "I saw Ann on a Comcast commercial." Wasn't it was a commercial with, Ariana too, right? Or they did a batteries commercial. I know they did a Duracell commercial together. But so anyway, assistant Ann says that her hours that something about her have been cut. And then I saw, I think it was on Reddit that some people were like, why would they fire Ann? Because isn't she like an asset to the show or an asset to the restaurant? Like, aren't people going to see her there? I don't think anybody's really going to something about her to see Ann, to be honest with you. And if anything, she may have been more of a distraction than an asset, right? Because I mean, if she's just there and she's chit chatting and taking selfies with everybody without actually working, then she may not be a true asset to the business, you know? Ann's last name is Matt. No, Ariana Maddox, like multiple, um, Dix, Dix, not, you know. But Ariana spells her name Maddox, like multiple, like Rachel Leviss. Um, And then, the other one is, Maddox, Maddox, and Maddox, not Ann Maddox. So there's Maddox and Maddox. So, maybe something about her will hire Ann. No, something about her cut Ann's store hours. She was working at the sandwich shop, and then they cut her hours, which is really kind of strange because they seem to be doing well, and they seem to be making some money. So Anne thought she was gonna be Ariana's assistant, not serving sandwiches. Well, now she's not doing either because I don't know what she was even doing at the sandwich shop, but she wasn't making sandwiches. Maybe she was taking orders. I'm not sure what Anna was doing. Maybe she was managing, but I know they onboarded a bunch of staff members. They announced all of their staff. So, yeah. Use Maddox in a sentence. This is the era for Zach Peter to have some mad dicks, raging ones. Maybe. So yeah. And so Anne posted on her Instagram story and she said, well, my hours got cut at the shop, so I have no choice but to have this, referring to her podcast, succeed. Please vote for my podcast so that we can get host read ads and pay my rent. Thank you. Okay. Let's review what she's promoting. Um, so there's this, what is it? Um, it's called the 11th Annual American Reality Television Awards. I feel like I've seen these around before. But so it's an award show, that they have. I don't think I've ever seen it, but in it, they have a category for overall reality podcast. And in that overall reality podcast is Ann Maddox's podcast, because she has a podcast called We Signed an NDA, where she talks about how she can't talk about things because she signed an NDA. And so I was kind of like, "What in the what?" Um, just because, like, overall reality podcasts, I feel like there are plenty of good podcasts that are out there. Let's actually look up Ann's podcast right now. We signed an NDA. We signed an NDA. It's interesting that she was even nominated for this. Okay, so she only has 276 ratings, 4.5 ratings. Okay, I mean, it's fine. It's new, it's building. But I would just thought it was strange because I would have expected, like, if this is the reality TV awards and we have a category for best reality podcast, I would think Danny Pellegrino, Ryan Bailey, um, Amy Phillips, Heather McDonald. I don't know. I think there are like a number, even the Bravo, two T's in a pod. Like if we were gonna talk about, a reality, I mean, shit, no filters are constantly in the top 100 and top 50. That I'm like, how are none of us considered for that? But Ann's podcast got nominated for this, and I was like, what is this? So normally, a lot of these award shows, I know because we get pitches for these all the time. Like, we want to consider your podcast for this, was whatever award. Mostly any podcast awards. I'll just break it to you right now. Okay. Go behind the curtain here. Let me expose the Wizard of Oz. So, most of these, and I have no confirmation of this for this specific award show. I'm not familiar with this award show. I just know, again, this is how it works in the industry. Um, you pay to get nominated. So typically, you pay a fee, and with that fee, you submit an application to be considered for a nomination. So that's why you typically don't see No Filter or people like Danny Pellegrino or, Ryan or Heather McDonald. Like, we're not paying to be considered for an award show, you know? That's typically why you don't. And sometimes when you do see like bigger shows or whatever, like usually it's like a network that's paying on their behalf. I know because when I've been with networks, the they've been like, we'll pay upfront for like an industry network pass or whatever, and then we can submit a certain number of shows. Every submission process is different for every one of these shows, but a lot of them, like, these aren't real. Like, you pay to be nominated, you pay for submissions. Danny says some of the overall nominees blew my mind. Okay, now it makes sense about being. Yeah, so we get offered to do stuff like this all the time. I don't, because I'm like, I'm not gonna pay $500 just for you to consider me so that I can be nominated. And then of course you're gonna go for, whatever is the biggest show on the list because that's what makes the most sense. So you're kind of tricking people into nominating themselves for something that is not real. Again, I want to preface and clarify, I'm not trying to throw any shade to any other podcast that's in that category. Um, but it was just strange to me. I'm like, why is Ann, like, first of all, Ann is even admitting here that she wants you to vote for her podcast so that she can try to get host read ads, which tells me that she's not getting host read ads, probably because her podcast isn't even performing well. So typically, in order to get host read ads, and that's where you go on here and you're like, hey guys, sign up for, I don't know. What have I done recently? Body. I don't know if you guys are listening or if you guys have tried the Body. I've been promoting the Body, which provides like Ozempic and Wegovy. They have, different GLPs, GLP-1 drugs that you can get prescriptions for through Body. Or what's another? Mint Mobile, I think, is one that we're running right now. TaskRabbit. What have I done in that? Quince, Lumi deodorant. So when you hear me reading ads for shows like that, those are considered host read ads. Now, in order to qualify for host read ads, I believe the minimum was like 10,000 downloads per episode. And then I believe it has since now, the new standard is like 20,000 downloads per episode. So you need to be bringing in that minimum in order to have host read ads. So getting some reality award isn't necessarily going to guarantee you host read ads. Like, the only way to get host read ads is to actually have people that listen to your show, right? You need to make sure the demo is right. You need to make sure the downloads are right. That way, brands are like, oh, there are people that are listening here. Consider it like Instagram followers. The higher the number of followers, the more money you can make. It's essentially the same thing with download streams, whatever, however you want to call them. So winning this award isn't going to help her pay her rent. Because it's not going to guarantee her host read ads unless that's part of what you win. Maybe you win some guaranteed host read ads, which doesn't sound like a very solid deal for the brand that would be paying for that, because normally they want to pay for reach rather than a vanity award. So yeah, how does the ad work? They pay you X number of dollars and you have to mention it X number of times. Yes. So, yeah, the ASPCA pet health insurance. That's right. Thank you, Sydney. I can tell you guys are listening. Um, I actually, the one I'm the most excited about right now is the Body. So what is it? Ro.co/no filter. Yeah. Ro.co/no filter. So guys, go and listen. I actually think that it's cool because, they're like, and if you've heard the ad, they run the ad automatically. So I don't read them on YouTube anymore, because now they're just automatically baked into the audio podcast, because that's separate to incorporate the YouTube deals. But yeah, so It's just, but somebody asked, how does it work? So yeah, typically you pay. So there's what's called a CPM, and the CPM is basically the number of impressions that you get from buying an ad on a podcast, similar to like a television ad, right? So when you buy a commercial, X number of people watch this show, so that's how many impressions that you get, and we'll run this ad until you reach. Let's say you want 300,000 impressions, and that's what the contract is. So 300,000 impressions at the CPM rate, which is usually like $20 to $25, which is like $20 to $25 per thousand. You add that up, whatever the value is for whatever the deal is. Once you reach 300,000 impressions, and impressions can be considered download streams, whatever. But once you hit that 300,000, then they'll pay you for that full amount, if that makes sense. I feel like I explained that very wonky. But yeah, so they typically buy upfront. Okay, I want to reach this number of downloads for a podcast. So then you give the number of episodes that get the average streams or whatever, and then you run the ad until you reach what they were looking to reach, which is like 300,000 streams or whatever, or 300,000 downloads. And then they pay you based off of that amount. That's how a host read ad works. And that's why you have custom codes like row.co/no filter or mintmobile.com/no filter. Like that's typically how it works. CPM is used to gauge the cost effectiveness and reach of a podcast advertising. It's common pricing model because it allows advertisers to estimate their costs based on the audience size of the podcast. Thank you, Joe. I said CPM, right? Or did I say different letters? I may have gotten confused with, the alphabet that we were talking about earlier. But yeah, so that's typically how it works. So if she's not getting host read ads, this award is not going to help pay her bills. And also, how is working at a sandwich shop paying your bills or paying your rent? Like, that's crazy. Listen, this is LA. You need like 3 or 4 jobs. That's why most people are like, I'm an actor and an Uber driver and a waitress and a bartender. So yeah. So there are people who figured this all out. Yes, there are ad agencies now and management teams and all of that stuff that kind of handle all of this. Unless you know how to run a lot of this yourself, because some of us have been in the game for a minute. But yeah, so good luck, Anne. Hope you win. I don't think you will, but I hope you do. Maybe, I mean, listen, there are plenty of sandwich shops in West Hollywood if she wants to apply for more. Does anybody even listen to her? I don't want to shade her about her podcast because I support all podcasts, but like, come on. What's the minimum wage in LA? The minimum wage is $15 in LA. Is it 15 or have they upped it? Let me see. Los Angeles minimum wage is, it may have been upped. Oh, it is $17.28 per hour. So 17.28 is the minimum wage in Los Angeles. So yeah. And is a hop, skip, and a jump away from starting a GoFundMe. I honestly would not be surprised. Also, I'll tell her right now that if you're not getting host read ads now, then when you do start getting host read ads, you're still going to need your sandwich gig, because it's going to take a while before you really turn a profit. So, yeah. Wasn't something about her like 21 and people were mad. Oh, you're right, Laura. That's right. We did see that. It was, yeah, they were paying 21 $21 per hour at something about her, and people were mad because like that's too low. All right. Let's see. I don't want to shade all podcasts. Oh, okay. I listen. I know I'm being a little shady, but it was just kind of like I don't know. I don't like when people jump into the podcast game. Like I support everybody coming into the game and finding the white space and creating something for themselves, right? Um, the same way if I were a breakdancer, I would want everybody to come and learn the breakdancing moves and be able to compete in the Olympics. But sometimes you have people like Ray Gun who come in and then it ends up kind of making a mockery of your industry. And then you're kind of like, oh, I don't really know how I feel about that. I don't know if I can really support that because it is kind of making a mockery of something that I do and take very seriously. So when you have somebody like Anne who's like, hey guys, vote for me for this fake award show so that I can, it's just strange to me. And so, no, I don't want to shade all podcasts, but at the same time, she is acting like the ray gun of breaking. So just consider me a professional break dancer that is actually, living and with this career as a break dancer and, seriously taking it serious in the Olympics. And then you have Ray Gun that comes in and steals the thunder. And it's like, what are you doing? You're making us all look bad. So. But it's also just like I've never liked Anne, to be honest with you. I've always thought that she was a clout chaser and she was trying to ride off the coattails of Vanderpump Rules, the way she was like fangirling over Lisa Vanderpump, and the way I thought it was kind of distasteful that she had an employer that was Tom Sandoval and that she was interviewing with Ariana in their house together. I just think from a business standpoint, like, we don't like Sandoval, I get that, but, like, you are literally working for him, and while you're working for him at your same place of business, you're interviewing with somebody else, and then you post these photos about being team Ariana and relishing in all of the, you know, clout that you're getting from this, and it's just strange. Okay, but that's enough about Anne. Let's talk about Andy Cohen, and then we'll talk about TomTom. Andy Cohen says that he never wants to see Bethenny Frankel ever again. So on Watch What Happens Live the other night, he shared that he went a little too easy on Bethenny in the Bethenny versus Carol beef. Remember? And even Carol's like, "What are you afraid of him too?" at the reunion. And so he's like, "Yeah, I'm afraid of Bethenny. Yeah, I'm afraid of her." So yeah, I think they burned Anne's reputation for the show. I think Anne burned her own reputation because she thought the show was going to give her more than it actually did. She should be grateful though. She got commercials out of it. She has a podcast that makes no money. Like, good for her. Like, you do you, boo. But so Andy Cohen saying that he was too easy on Bethany, and then he was asked which housewife he would never like to see again, and he kind of alluded to Bethany. He was kind of like, "Well, I think we kind of just said it." So he seems to be done with Bethany altogether. I think we all believed their friendship, right? Which I think is why it was kind of disheartening to see Bethany take such a polarizing shift to, um, like, bail on Andy. It was like such a hard pivot, and not only does she bail on her friendship with Andy, but at this point, she's bailed on the reality reckoning. Like, she'd milked it for all she could, and now she's, like, moved on to talk about how, now she's ranting not about reality reckoning, but about Chanel and how she tried to walk into a Chanel store and they rejected her, and that was, like, her new crusade was against Chanel for, um, you know, being discriminatory towards her because she looked poor one day when she was trying to walk into a Chanel to buy a purse or whatever. And then even recently, I saw her recent rant. She was like getting upset at like some cafe in the Hamptons because she's like, I went into this cafe and none of the workers were even excited to see me. And if anything, they were almost kind of annoyed that I was there. And I've driven so much, thousands and thousands of product I've driven for them by promoting them on my TikTok. And I talk about them all the time. And they can't even like, appreciate that I'm in their store shopping. Like, I can't even believe this. Like, people around me in the store were excited to see me, but I've sold thousands and thousands of products for this store and they won't even acknowledge me. I was like, really, Bethany? Really? Really? So yeah, those are her new crusades now that she's abandoned the reality reckoning. But Andy Cohen's like, thank you. Next. Okay. Last thing I want to touch on is Peter Madrigal. So um he was on the Sarah Fraser podcast. I like Sarah Fraser. She's very, very nice. Um I think I did a Femtero's live stream I did with her a couple months ago. Um I saw her at Sarah from Texas. She did like a live show, I think back in January, February. And I saw her. That's where I met Sarah Fraser. And she was very lovely, very nice woman. I think even when she went to something about her and she was like complaining about her experience, something about her and people were like beating her up and like she was getting all this heat. I think at that point I even reached out to her and I was like, hey, don't, like I was just trying to be like, listen, don't let the noise. As someone that's often taken heat on the internet, ride the wave. It'll be over soon. Hang in there. Right. But so she had Peter Madrigal on her podcast, and I guess they were talking about TomTom, and Peter kind of came off as like a bit of a hater in this interview, to be honest with you, because they talked about TomTom and about how they've now put up the sign, the pump sign at TomTom. And Peter's like, I think they may have taken down the TomTom sign and now it's the pump sign, which is not true. And then I saw that people were like showing photos of the outside of TomTom and they were like, oh, look at, they've now hidden the TomTom sign behind the tree. And now you can prominently see the pump sign outside. When Okay, somebody that lives in Los Angeles and has been to all of these establishments multiple times, I can tell you, I was just at TomTom a few weeks ago, and I can assure you that the TomTom sign is where it has always been. It is still up. Last time I checked, TomTom sign has always been there. Has always been exactly where it's at. And I think Schwartz, I don't remember if Schwartz said this on Disaster Daters or maybe it said this to me directly. But Schwartz said that they I think he said it on Disaster Daters. I don't think I'm outing like a private conversation. I believe Schwartz said this when he was on my other podcast. And Schwartz said that they put up the pump sign to pay homage to Pump because Pump was closed down. So the business is still TomTom. The TomTom sign is still there where it has always been. The picture, the photo of Tom and Tom is still hanging in the Louvre. Um, yeah, I don't understand why Peter's making this a bigger deal than it actually is. They're not replacing it because also you have to think about if they're going to change the name of the business, they would have to refile all of their articles of incorporation. Like, I mean, or file that there's a new address and they have a new location. It's easier to just keep it all as TomTom. So it's still TomTom. But Schwartz said that they put the pump sign up, one, to pay homage to Pump. And then they also added in a pump brunch, which is what they call it, a pump brunch, which they do on the weekends. TomTom didn't have brunch before. TomTom was a bar. So now they've opened for brunch on the weekends and they have a pump brunch. And so they have the pump sign above the new TomTom garden. So there's the original TomTom space. And then they purchased the location next to it and opened it up as a garden, similar to the pump garden at the old Pump restaurant. So they had the garden there and they ended up just putting the pump sign over the garden. So they're not rebranding it as far as I'm aware. They're not rebranding it. But he was just like, yeah, I think they're done with TomTom and I don't think their TomTom is happening anymore. And then I think Sarah asked him, oh, well, then do they still have their percentage in TomTom? And he's like, I think they got bought out of that a long time ago. Slap my knee. Which maybe Sandoval got bought out. Or I believe we saw that play out on Vanderpump Rules. Remember where there was like that option that Lisa and Ken were going to possibly buy the Toms out so that they can afford Schwartz and Sandy's. And I believe something happened there where they did take some money out or a portion of it or they bought back into it later. I don't remember the exact details, but Schwartz is still at TomTom very often. Hosting the brunch, he's still part of the business. I don't know how often Sandoval is part of the business, but Schwartz is still there relatively often. So I would imagine Schwartz still has some sort of vested interest in it. The same way they do their party bus, right? And when they do their party bus, Jackson and Schwartz, they hit up Sir, they hit up TomTom, they hit up Schwartz and Sandy's, and they hit up Jax's in the Valley. So I don't I don't think that that's true. Um, yeah, I don't believe that that's any of that is true. But then he also like shaded Schwartz and Sandy's because I think Sarah asked like, "Well, how do you think Schwartz and Sandy's is doing? Have you heard anything?" It's like every time I hear about it, it's a ghost town. Well, Peter Madrigal, I can assure you that when they had me come in and host at Schwartz and Sandy's, I at least know the nights I was there hosting it or not, but when I was like doing I guess like I was hosting the watch parties, the Vanderpump watch parties. When I went, it wasn't much of a ghost town there. I can only speak to the nights that I was running things, but why would Peter know any of this? I don't know because he's a hater. Lee Peter was shitting on Schwartz and Sandy's too. He seems salty. Yeah, he's like, I hear it's always a ghost town. Ha 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 ha. When it's like, Okay. I mean, listen, I've had my critiques of Schwartz and Sandy specifically to the location that it's in. I always thought that was a challenging location, but it's not a bad spot. And I've been there many times. I've been to TomTom. I've been to Schwartz and Sandy's. I've been to Pump. I've been to Sir. Peter has waited on me at Sir in the past. So yeah, I mean, I don't get why he's being a hater. It's also like Lisa doesn't need to reopen Pump or change anything from what's already, you know, doing their thing. She's got a new spot that she just announced is coming to Vegas at the Flamingo Casino. Pinkies, I think is what she's calling it. So Pinkies, another. So she has Wolf, she has Pinkies. Well, Wolf is here in California, or no, Wolf is in Nevada too, right? Isn't it in Lake Tahoe? And then there's Pinkies in Vegas that's now coming. There's the Caesars location that she has. There's Vanderpump Paris that she has. Yeah, it's Vanderpump Garden, Vanderpump Paris. Those are the two that she has in Vegas already. Now she has Pinkies, Wolf. So if anything, it seems like she's moving her business out of California and over to Nevada. Have you been to Jax's bar? I've only been there once. It's not. I like Jax's bar. It's a cute spot. It's more of like a low key sports bar, and they do, I think, karaoke on Mondays. Stacey says Lisa gave them their money back with the option of buying it back in at the same percentage. Yeah. So, and I think that's what or I think maybe Sandoval too. I don't remember exactly what. I don't think we ever knew what the details of that were, but I don't understand why Schwartz would be spending so much time there if he didn't have some sort of percentage ownership in TomTom. Sarah says Peter reminds me of a crybaby, not an attraction I look for. Yeah, I don't understand. How do you feel about Stassi coming to Vanderpump Villa? Well, let's talk about that, Stacey. Stassi. So it was just announced that Stassi is going to be returning to returning to Vanderpump Land because she's going to be starring in Vanderpump Villa. I think I said this on the podcast. Oh no, I said this on, maybe it was a TikTok live that I did this week. I remember talking about this. Sorry, we put out so much content. I can't always keep up with it all. But or I can't always remember what I say where. But Stassi is returning. She has a new show called Stassi Says that's coming out in conjunction with season 2 of Vanderpump Villa. I don't know what Stassi's role at Vanderpump Villa is going to be. I don't think she's going to be one of the staff members at the villa. I think if anything, she's either going to come in to celebrate something because, every episode it's like a new, round of guests that are coming in to stay at the villa and they're here to celebrate a bachelor party or a 30th birthday. Remember, I think last season there was like someone that did like a funeral to the end of their 20s and now they were turning 30. So I think Stassi is going to come in and either celebrate something at the villa or she's coming in with Lisa so that she can help set the staff members straight. Like, ooh, staff members need a little lecturing or somebody that can help train them. And Stassi's going to come in and throw down the gavel. So I think one of those two things will happen. But I think Stassi's making cameos, not a full, she's not going to be a full-time cast member, number one. And number two, her spinoff is called Stassi Says. That's also coming to Hulu because that's where Vanderpump Villa is. And it seems like it may be some sort of either scripted or semi-scripted series. They're calling it a docu-comedy where Stassi basically, it seems like it's trying to help other people get their shit together, which is on brand with her new book. She has a new book that's coming out called You Can't Have It All. How, the art of balance is basically a bunch of bullshit and, you can't have everything perfectly balanced all the time. So the book comes out, I believe, later this year, if I'm not mistaken. But on top of that, it looks like this show will have some sort of connection to the book where she's kind of like helping people, set the record straight. So there you go. Wow, we covered a lot in this hour. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of No Filter with Zack Peter. I love you guys. You can always give me a follow at Just Plain Zack all over the internet. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack on Instagram. Hopefully you are living your best life. Stay safe from all the earthquakes. We don't like the earthquakes. I was very scared with the earthquake yesterday. I was like, oh my God, it was like a 4.6, 4.7. It felt strong. We felt it strong. It was like a hard ass jolt. I was like, oh, hell no, the building's about to come down. Nobody's London Bridge came down that day. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to book your cameos with me. If you want a personalized message from me, you can book that now on Cameo. Just go click the link in the description below, or you can go on Cameo and search for Zack Peter. That's me, Zack Peter. So go book your cameos now. Show me some love. Like I said, Body, if you want ro.co/nofilter, or if you want Mint Mobile, mintmobile.com/nofilter. So yeah, I mean, listen, the Body deal is actually a good one. I think everybody, I'm sure you heard the ad play if you listened to this episode. The ad, I'm sure, ran automatically and you got to listen to it. But listen, I actually like the deal. ro.co/nofilter, ro.co/nofilter. Yeah. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm actually going to be back on Court TV talking about the Tom Girardi stuff. So be sure to tune into that. All right, guys. I think that's all I have for you. But ciao for now. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye.